Welcome, everybody, to post-production.
It is 2 in the morning.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we just finished recording Rewind of Raw, and we are just shooting a quick update because we didn't get a chance to last week. Yeah, we just kind of wanted to use this space to just talk a little bit about the past week, giving you guys a bit of an update into like the behind-the-scenes goings-on. Over the past week, we did a couple reviews, but I think maybe the one that maybe has received some of the most attention was the Greatest Royal Rumble review we did for the Post Wrestling Cafe. It was it was sort of a weird show, I would say, for me to cover. I don't know how you felt about it necessarily, but it was a show that I think had a lot more I think talking points attached to it than just the wrestling itself, and it was sort of like it was a bit weird for me because I don't necessarily, again, to feel completely qualified to talk about a lot of the politics involved. Yet at the same time, I feel like we couldn't not mention a lot of the politics that were involved with this show.
Yeah, I know that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, that they just want to hear wrestling discussion, but I don't know how you watch that show, and to me, I'm never going to look back at the wrestling on that show. That was whether you want to look at it in good terms or bad, that show is going to be remembered for the politics of what it is. And I think that is our role. I think to be, understanding that in this case, pro wrestling is the tool that is being utilized here for a larger message, for a government that is trying to project an image to the world, and they are using professional wrestling as one of many outlets of different forms of entertainment that they're trying to do that. And I think we just have to kind of absorb what this 5-hour message was, and the message is pretty loud. So.
Yeah. I always think like it's a challenge, I think, to as commentators to like talk about things like this while trying to be like impartial with our own like I guess maybe our own beliefs and our own morals. And I think we try our best to do that, to just try to bring a conversation about the show and the topic without, injecting too much of ourselves into it. But at the same time, like, feeling the ability to, like, if there's fault, like, if we think there's something that's wrong here, to be able to say that there's something wrong. That line might be different for a lot of people. So it certainly was like a week, kind of an uncomfortable, but I think a good exercise to like for us to practice.
Yeah, like neither of us come on here to try and upset people or offend people, but I mean, I'm just being completely honest. Like I didn't enjoy that show. I look back at it and I felt really, it was just I don't look at it as enjoyable. I don't think it's something that. I don't think.
But if you did enjoy it, like that's totally fine too. Cause
listen. But I'm just gonna state my side of things. Like we're not dictating how others should feel.
Like some people probably couldn't enjoy Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho from Backlash 2000, but I mean, we talked about that match. Like, I enjoyed that as a wrestling match. I've gotten to the point now where like I could watch a Chris Benoit match and remove myself from everything else that's attached to that thing. But some people can't, but we're only here to kind of talk about our experience.
Yeah, and as we go back, like I think the most important thing is that people are all talking about this. Yes. That this is not just simply being digested as another wrestling show, and the politics are ignored. I think everyone would be failing if that was the sense. Everyone understands what this is. You may have differing points of view than myself. You might have differing opinion than Wai, but I think that it's very important to talk about this. And
it was actually quite nice, like to see some discussion going on the forum. Unfortunately, the discussion like quickly turned into kind of ugly and like got into name calling, and it's too bad because I would say like the more we can talk about this in civil ways, the better it is. Maybe we can try to do better next time.
Yeah, and this is going to be, this is a 10-year deal, and the political climate and the politics of these of this show and Saudi Arabia is going to be something major. I think that if you are covering professional wrestling, you do owe it to yourself and your audience to get kind of up to speed on what is going on, because that's a big part of coverage now, I feel, myself included.
But we can't be expected to become political, Middle Eastern politics.
No, but I think
overnight.
just enough that to be able to talk about what the politics are going on here and what kind of a country Saudi Arabia is, so that you at least have a frame of reference here. Because there are some that, to me, what I can, having a few days to kind of look at this, is that it feels like there are different goals that are trying to be achieved here. You have a country in Saudi Arabia that is looking like there are definitely efforts to modernize. And I think that to an American, to a Canadian, the term modernize might be a lot different than how an official in the Saudi Arabian government looks at modernizing. Yep. They may believe that, allowing a female to drive, having movie theaters, that's modernizing. The idea that women are going to be wrestling in wrestling gear in front of a male audience, that is way too far that they would ever consider doing. Yeah. And I think you have an audience in North America that's looking at, well, this is the beginning point, and in 2 years from now, women will be wrestling, which I would go back to another point as well, that I think that we can kind of trap ourselves by everyone focusing on the women wrestling on this card issue, and that's kind of looked upon as like the biggest grievance here. I mean, there's so much more that goes into it, and the WWE has opened themselves to this.
Oh, they've opened the discussion. Absolutely.
Like if this were just they were going over there for a live event that they were in control of, I don't think I'd be opposed to them going to a country that has a poor record of human rights. But you are being paid by the government to give government-sponsored messages on your programming. So you have now opened up the conversation where, to me, this is not you are forcing politics into a wrestling show. You have brought that on yourself.
I think it's almost irresponsible to ignore all that stuff.
100%.
Granted, I mean, if you don't feel like you'd have that much to say about it, if you don't have the knowledge, and I could understand why you wouldn't want to, for fear of saying something that you would regret later on in a public forum. I get it.
But you have your basic opinions still, Way. Like, I mean, everything is looked upon differently culturally. But I think, like, I look at, I have grown up in a world where I think we look at gender as equal between males and females. Yeah. And I think you're looking at a part of the world where women are not treated as such. And that immediately, like, that's going to cause conflict. That's going to cause disagreement amongst people that are I mean, that's a major thing to compromise.
Yes. I don't know enough about maybe some of the grievances that some people are expressing about that part of the world in order for me to say, because I can't say without knowing more about what life is like there that this is a wrong way to live. You know what I mean? And I would say, like, on the surface, I would say, of course everybody should have equal rights. But I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know what the building blocks of that society are in order for me to judge them from, as a 34-year-old man in Canada, to say that's wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, if somebody does feel like I feel like I could talk about maybe the WWE's involvement with something like that. I think, like, what's interesting about this whole thing is that, like, it raises questions for all of us watching this stuff about maybe where our own moral lines are, and how they fit into maybe our fandom of this professional wrestling thing. And I mean, I find it fascinating in the end, and I don't regret having conversations like this at all. I think, if anything, I know a lot more about life in Saudi Arabia right now, and I hope to learn more in the months ahead.
I don't want to focus everything on just this. We have...
Man, the past month, with all that said, it attracted a lot of attention for our Patreon. If you're following our Patreon numbers, like we gained like 200 patrons over the past month, and largely due to, I would say, our WrestleMania coverage, but also this show like gave us a bit of a boost. So hello if you're checking this out for the first time, but April was certainly like really cool, really good for us.
Yeah, it went really well.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed all our stuff that we did in New Orleans with the using lens as well. That turned out, I think, very well.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out ways to use that, because like the thing I'm hesitant to do is like to constantly post lens updates, because they go into like your mailbox all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't want to like bother people, with too many lens updates for every single photo, unless there was something to show. Most of the time when we're doing the shows here, there's really not that much to show. Like, you're seeing it. This is about the extent. Like, do I take a screenshot of my video editing like thing? It's not that exciting to me, but if people want to see it, I get it. Sure, cool. But at the same time, we're also batting around ideas for our video, components of the Post Wrestling Cafe.
Yeah, that's kind of, one of many things we're looking to tackle beyond this month is just kind of that section of the subscribers that are at that level, at the $12 level with video, and how to best serve those people.
Yeah, I'm always trying to, think about all the various tiers and trying to maybe adjust things so that we feel like we are giving enough value for all the people that are contributing. So we just announced the t-shirt giveaway that we'll be doing every month, and there they are, just a boxes and boxes of Post Wrestling t-shirts sitting in my basement, and we'll be giving 4 shirts out a month. And the way we're gonna do the draws is we are going to give 2 shirts per for all the members of the One Milk One Sugar $6 tier. So amongst that pool, we'll draw 2 winners a month. And then for all the $12 and up tiers, that's all the people watching this, basically, we will draw 2 other shirts. And the advantage is that if you are amongst this pool of higher contributors, your chances of winning are going to be significantly higher, because there are far fewer of you than there are people who are just subscribed to the $6 tier.
Yeah, we've also got our bonus shows that we're going to be putting out. We're putting out 2 bonus shows this week with Ask Away, the May edition, and we're also going to be doing a review on Friday of both New Japan Dontaku cards that are happening later on this week in Fukuoka, including Tanahashi versus Okada for the IWGP title. So that is coming up.
And then Backlash on Sunday.
So there's lots of content, both for the cafe and at postwrestling.com coming up this week. We're going to be going to Ring of Honor coming up on Friday, May the 11th here in Toronto for that War of the World show. So we're looking at that. And yes.
That's about it for now. I think that's enough of an update. Yeah. So stay tuned. Check out our new blog style update that you guys should have all received in your mailboxes. And
that's it. Folks, Captain America is in.
John feels really bad about like screwing up the Captain America thing.
No, I think it's funny.
We did a Avengers spoiler review at the end of Rewind to Raw, so you guys could check that out. I think I'll be uploading a video of Rewind to Raw.
Yeah, let's not give any spoilers on the video here. We haven't warned people sufficiently, so.
So don't. You're not expected to know everything about the Avengers, so don't worry.
Oh, I'm not even trying to climb that mountain. Trust me.
Okay.
Is that all? Is there anything else we wanted to discuss?
I think that's about it for now. We tackle a bunch of other things in the blog update, basically.
Okay. So. It is 2:15 in the morning. I am going to drive home now. But good night, everyone, or good morning.